Stormsong Valley, a land steeped in maritime devotion, thrives under the rule of House Stormsong. Here, the sea is not just a way of life, it's a sacred force, worshipped with unwavering religious fervor. Central to this devotion are the Tidesages, a powerful sect that blesses each vessel before it sets sail. It was the father of the current Lord Stormsong who first led these spiritual navigators to the valley, cementing their role in Kul Tiras' naval supremacy. Renowned for crafting the finest ships in the kingdom, Stormsong Valley has long been the lifeblood of Kul Tiras' fleet. Every inhabitant contributes to this noble endeavor, their efforts ensuring the dominance of the Kul Tiran navy. Yet, a shadow has fallen over the valley. Ship production has mysteriously halted. If the Alliance hopes to secure a formidable naval force, they must uncover the cause of this disruption and restore the valley's industry. The valley is bordered by towering mountain ranges that shape its natural boundaries. To the south, jagged peaks form an imposing divide between Stormsong Valley and Tidesages Sound, with Highland Pass serving as the only viable route between them. Just beyond this passage lies the city of Brennadam, a vital hub nestled in the valley's heart. Further west, Widow's Peak looms over Sprucewood, where Ettins make their home. Nearby, the Briarback Crawl sprawls across a rugged gorge, claimed by the savage Briarback Quillboar. The western foothills, a land of rolling meadows with highland whims, host settlements like Millstone Hamlet and Seabreeze Village, where the Kul Tirans have carved out a living amidst the untamed wilds. To the north, a chain of peaks mark the valley's farthest reaches, each summit standing as a silent sentinel over the land. Among them are Gale's Rest, Stormwatch Peak, and Tidebreak Summit, their slopes feeding countless rivers that flow through the Tidebreak foothills. The mighty Shrine of the Storms rises dramatically from the waters northeast of Kraken's Reach, its ancient foundations carved into the craggy cliffs. This revered sanctuary serves as a seat of power for both House Stormsong and the Tidesages, its walls adorned with the sigil of the Kraken, a testament to their deep and enduring bond with the sea. Stormsong Valley remains a place of mystery and majesty, where the whispers of the tides hold secrets yet to be unveiled. As the Alliance delves into its troubles, they may find that the valley's fate is bound not only to the sea, but to forces far beyond mortal understanding. For centuries, Brennadam and the entirety of Stormsong Valley thrived under the stewardship of House Stormsong, a dynasty that had governed the region since the first humans set foot upon its shores. Over time, the valley blossomed into the agricultural heart of Kul Tiras, its fertile fields yielding an abundance of crops. Positioned near the border of Tidesages Sound, became a bustling market town, its street live with commerce and prosperity. Yet as the Fourth War raged, a storm of darkness and destruction swept through the valley. Farmers found themselves under siege by savage Quillboar, their lands trampled and homes threatened. Worse still, House Stormsong, once the region's stalwart protectors, fell to the insidious whispers of an unknown force, abandoning their people in their hour of need. With the valley left defenseless, disaster struck. Under the command of War Chief Sylvanas Windrunner, the Horde launched a brutal invasion, threatening to reduce Brennadam to ash. As chaos engulfed the town, a hastily assembled militia, led by the resolute Mayor Roz and the battle-hardened Sergeant Calvin, took up arms in a desperate bid to defend their home. The Horde descended with war zeppelins and siege weaponry, destroying buildings and slaughtering unarmed civilians. But Brennadam would not fall without a fight. Alliance champions joined the fray, evacuating survivors, extinguishing the raging fires, and striking at the heart of the enemy's forces. In a decisive move, they eliminated the Horde's ruthless field commander, Champion Lockjaw, crippling the enemy's leadership. The tide of the battle shifted when the Alliance warriors seized an Azerite war machine from their foes, turning the Horde's own destructive power against them. With this newfound weapon, they obliterated reinforcements pouring in from Warfang Hold, driving the invaders back and securing Brennadam's survival. Though scarred by war, the town endured, a testament to the resilience of its people and the courage of those who stood against the tide of darkness. At the same time, Brennadam became a refuge for Brother Pike, one of the few remaining Tidesages who had not fallen to Lord Stormsong's corruption. As the town reeled from disaster, its citizens gathered outside his modest home, demanding answers for the calamities that had befallen them. Pike, alongside heroes of the Alliance, set out from Brennadam in search of the truth, determined to uncover the forces behind the valley's turmoil. As these events unfolded, a new militia emerged from the chaos, comprised of local volunteers and uncorrupted Tidesages. This faction became known as the Storm's Wake, dedicated to shielding the people of Stormsong Valley from the horrors that plagued them. They established Brennadam as their central stronghold, From here, they waged a relentless struggle against the darkness, vowing to restore peace to their homeland and reclaim what had been lost. The Deadwash was once an unassuming settlement nestled between the Drowned Lands and the briny flats in western Stormsong Valley, and it's become a town gripped by ambition and peril. The land surrounding it was part of an ambitious project, an effort to reclaim fertile ground by draining a bay, with the seawall at Fort Dalen standing as the last barrier between the valley and the relentless ocean. However, while the settlers sought to cultivate farmland, fate had other plans. As the water receded, the skeletal remains of a long-forgotten shipwreck from the Second War emerged from the mud. Within its shattered hull, glimmers of long-buried treasure ignited the imagination of all who laid eyes upon it. The fields were soon abandoned as over 200 hopefuls, treasure hunters, workers, and fortune seekers, descended upon Deadwash, eager to claim a piece of the newfound riches. Yet, where there is treasure, there are those willing to kill for it. The ruthless Iron-Tide raiders, ever drawn to wealth like sharks to blood, set their sights on Deadwash. With cutlasses sharpened and cannons ready, they descended upon the town in a ruthless assault, seeking to seize the spoils for themselves. What was meant to be a settlement of prosperity has instead become a battleground, where the settlers must fight to keep what they have uncovered, or risk losing it all to the greed of the sea's most ruthless marauders. A forsaken isle off the western coast of Stormsong Valley called Fate's End is a place few dare to speak of and even fewer live to tell about. Jagged drust ruins stand like silent sentinels along its southern shore, their ruined pillars whispering of ancient and forgotten magics. To the north, shattered shipwrecks litter the coastline, grim reminders of those who strayed too close. The air above crackles with restless thunder, and the seas that surround it churn with an unnatural fury. Only the Tidesages can navigate these treacherous waters unscathed, for Fate's End is no ordinary island. It is a threshold to something far more sinister. Once, the Kul Tiras attempted to tame the island, seeking to carve out a settlement amid its eerie landscape. Yet each time, the mist swallowed them whole, entire colonies vanishing overnight, their inhabitants never seen again. With no explanation for these disappearances, Fate's End was abandoned to its own dark devices. Now, it serves a far grimmer purpose, a place of exile for Kul Tiras' most dangerous criminals. Yet, exile here is a sentence worse than death, for none who are cast upon its shores ever return. The island's dark secret lies in its connection to Thros, the Blighted Lands, a realm of corruption and decay that festers within the Emerald Dream, twisted by the unnatural meeting of void and death. This accursed place has long been the domain of the Drust and their king Gorak Tul, ever since their ancient war against the human sailors of Kul Tiras. Strange fiends prowl its decayed landscapes, twisted reflections of life, feeding on the despair of those unfortunate enough to be trapped there. The gateway to Thros is the great tree Gul'inath, a gnarled and towering sentinel standing at the crossroads between the walking world and the nightmare beyond. However, Fate's End itself serves as a secondary passage, a Terran reality where those exiled to the island are dragged beyond the veil. Some say dark rituals can open the way as well, drawing those who tamper with forbidden magics into the clutches of Thros. Regardless of the method, one truth remains. Those who enter the Blighted Lands are never meant to return. Whatever awaits within is beyond mortal comprehension, a fate more terrifying than the depths of the sea itself. A rugged and windswept corridor through the mountains named Highland Pass serves as the only land route into Stormsong Valley. Every merchant traveling to bustling towns like Brennadam must pass through its winding path, making it a lifeline for trade and commerce. However, during the tumultuous Kul Tiran civil war, this vital artery was severed by Lord Stormsong himself, who ordered the road blocked in a bid to isolate the valley from the rest of Kul Tiras. The consequences were swift and severe. Unaware of the blockade, Borealis watched its once thriving trade dwindle, its merchants left stranded without goods or news from the valley. With commerce stifled and tensions rising, the situation threatened to spiral into chaos. It was only through the intervention of Talia Fordragon and a determined alliance adventurer that the blockade was finally dismantled. Braving the dangers of Highland Pass, they confronted the forces enforcing Lord Stormsong's decree, clearing the road and restoring the flow of trade to the beleaguered valley. Though the passage now stands open once more, its history remains a reminder of how fragile the balance of power can be, and how the ambitions of one ruler nearly strangled the lifeline of an entire region. The ceaseless rhythm of industry echoes across this vital hub of shipbuilding, where master craftsmen from Scripps Lumber Co., Layson & Sons Rigging, and the Brine Works labor tirelessly, Their efforts supply the renowned Addington shipyards with the finest materials, each plank, mast, and sail reinforcing the might of Kul Tiras' formidable fleet. Across the water, even greater vessels take form at Port Fogtide, seamlessly connected by the sturdy bridge at Tidecross. Known as Mariner's Strand, this bustling island ensures the lifeblood of Kul Tiran seafaring tradition continues unbroken. Yet, darkness has crept into this industrious heart. Corrupted Tidesages and the once loyal Stormsong militia have seized control, twisting the purpose of Mariner's Strand into something unnatural. What was once a place of craftsmanship and seafaring legacy now lies in turmoil. Its harbor shrouded in an eerie silence broken only by the whispers of those who have succumbed to the dark tide. Among the shipyards stand Seafarer's Rest. Within this hallowed coastal sanctuary, the final rites of the Stormsong unfold as departed souls are set adrift into the open sea, carried by ancient tides to an eternal horizon. The salt-laden winds carry the echoes of their stories, a solemn reminder of the price paid to try to tame the seas. Once a bastion of maritime mastery, Mariner's Strand now teeters on the edge of ruin. Whether it will be reclaimed by the righteous or remain in the grasp of corruption is a fate yet to be written on the tides. A desolate and storm-battered expanse lies south of the Shrine of the Storm in eastern Stormsong Valley, flanked on both sides by the Forgotten Cove. Stretching from the forsaken ruins of the Lost Estate in the southwest to the looming base of the great mountain that dominates the island's skyline, this bleak land bears the scars of eerie corruption, its very soil steeped in an unsettling stillness. Two ancient and ominous sites stand upon this haunted ground: the bleak sepulchre, resting in the southeastern reaches, and a profaned reliquary, hidden near the northern edge. These places, steeped in forgotten rites and unspeakable whispers, are remnants of dark forces that predate even the Tidesages' sacred traditions. At the northernmost point of this cursed stretch, the entrance to the Crucible of Storms gapes like a wound in the earth, a gateway into the abyss where nightmares take form. Here, amidst the fractured landscape known as the Precipice of Oblivion, the mysterious and terrifying warbringer Yanaz emerges, a harbinger of destruction whose presence twists reality itself. The winds howl with warnings to those who dare set foot upon these shattered grounds, for the echoes of ancient horrors still linger, waiting for the moment to reclaim what was once theirs. A quiet fishing settlement nestled in the western reaches of Stormsong Valley named Seabreeze Village lies just south of the imposing Fort Dalen. Once a peaceful haven for Kul Tiran fishermen, its shores now churn with conflict. The Zethgir Naga, accompanied by raging water elementals, have laid siege to the village, capturing its anglers and sowing chaos along the coast. The tides that once provided for the villagers have now turned against them, twisted by the dark ambitions of the Naga. Amid the turbulence of the Fourth War, Seabreeze Village became an unexpected refuge for Derek Proudmoore upon his return to Kul Tiras. Here, he found solace in the company of Kalia Menethil, forging a deep bond with a woman who, like him, had been shaped by death and rebirth. His time in the village also allowed him to reconnect with his younger sister, Jaina Proudmoore, renewing the familial ties long strained by war and tragedy. Yet despite reclaiming his place among the Proudmoores in heart and name, Derek's path led him once more away from his homeland. Though Kul Tiras would always be a part of him, he chose to leave Jaina and his past behind, departing with Kalia to the Kalston estate, where they would meet with Lillian Voss and the Forsaken. His journey was no longer one of reclaiming the past, but forging a new future, one where the meaning of family and identity extended beyond bloodlines and into the realm of the unknown. 2,500 years before the Dark Portal, the ancestors of House Stormsong played a pivotal role in leading the early founders of Kul Tiras to its shores. Originating from Gilneas, these seafarers sought something greater than the lives they had left behind. The call of the sea was their first answer, an endless, untamed expanse that provided both sustenance and peril in equal measure. Many accepted this new way of life, yet some still longed for something beyond the horizon, an existence greater than mere survival. It was during this search that the head of House Stormsong first heard the voice, a whisper from the depths that would come to be known as the Tide Mother. The voice spoke of power, of communion with the elements, and of a destiny intertwined with the sea itself. Under her guidance, the Stormsongs learned to command the tides, to summon the wind to their sails, to calm the ocean's fury, and to fill their nets with the ocean's bounty. The Tide Mother's whispers eventually led them to an archipelago untouched by their kind. Here, beneath storm-laden skies, they found their promised land, what would one day be known as Kul Tiras. House Stormsong and the first of the Tidesages took it upon themselves to guide others to these new shores, shepherding their people across the sea and securing a future in this newfound homeland. The northernmost region of the land became theirs, named Stormsong Valley in honor of the leader who had carried them through their trials of their journey. At last they had found the home they had been searching for. But peace was not so easily won. The archipelago was not uninhabited, and the settlers found themselves locked in a brutal war against the Drust, an ancient and fearsome race who claimed these lands as their own. House Stormsong stood among the many who fought in the bloodied conflict, a war that would ultimately see humanity rise to the rulers of Kul Tiras. Their bond with the sea had led them to their new home, but steel and sacrifice would ensure that they keep it. The Path of Storms, an ethereal bridge woven from the very essence of the sea, stands as the sole passage to the revered Shrine of the Storm in Stormsong Valley. Suspended above the treacherous waters that guard the shrine, this shimmering path can only be summoned and maintained by the most seasoned tide guards, wielders of the legendary Rod of Tides. Every Tidesage, before they can call upon the sacred blessings of the storm, must walk this ceremonial path, a journey both physical and spiritual. The roaring winds and crashing waves serves as a test of devotion, ensuring that only the truly faithful reach the shrine's towering spires. Those who traverse the Path of Storms do so with reverence, knowing that beyond its mist-shrouded expanse lies the heart of their order's power, where the tides themselves whisper secrets of the deep. The Shrine of the Storm stands as both the spiritual heart of the Tidesages and the seat of power for House Stormsong. Within its sacred halls, powerful blessings are woven into the very hulls of the Kul Tiran fleet, ensuring their unmatched dominance in naval warfare. For generations, the Tidesages have acted as stewards of the shrine, channeling the sea's raw fury into divine protection for their people. Yet, an encroaching darkness now taints these hallowed grounds. A sinister force has taken root within the shrine, threatening to wrest control of the Kul Tiran fleet and turn it against those it once served. Whispers of corruption ripple through the storm-racked halls, twisting the Tidesages' once pure rituals into something unnatural and malevolent. Beyond the shrine, at the ominous precipice of oblivion, lies a place where time itself seems to unravel. Here, Storm's End and the Shrine of Shadow stand as grim monuments to an ancient power that predates even the Tidesages' traditions. According to Xalatath, this cursed place has borne countless names across the ages, each one carrying echoes of forgotten horrors. The winds howl with the voices of the past, warning all who dare tread its shattered ground that some power should remain undisturbed. Beneath the swirling ocean currents lie countless ancient powers lost to mortal memory. Yet in the heart of these treacherous waters, Lord Stormsong, a true master of the deep, calls upon a legendary sea beast to stand as guardian of the hallowed shrine named Aquasir. Beneath Lord Stormsong's authority stands the Tidesage Council, guiding pillars of the Tidesage Order. Within this trio, Wavespeaker Reed, Brother Ironhull, and Gale Caller Faye, each member safeguards a distinct facet of their sacred tradition. Reed himself was renowned for teaching the oldest form of oceanic magic, ushering young initiates into an ancient communion with the sea. In the end, however, his path veered into the void, like so many others, leading the storm wakes to strike him down. As the revered master of House Stormsong, Lord Stormsong stands at the forefront of the Tidesages, guiding them through ancient oceanic rites and blessings. Yet beneath the surface of these sacred waters, a darker mystery lurks, a reminder that not everything is as it appears. Dispatched by Queen Ajar to sow discord among the Tidesages, the sinister Volzith tempts any who will heed its hushed promises of forbidden power. A long-submerged evil stirs beneath the Shrine of the Storm, its presence seeping through the stone like the tide through a crumbling seawall. The same whispers that shattered Lord Stormsong's mind still echo in the abyss, weaving a siren song of eldritch power. Those who hear and obey do not resist, they prepare, their dark rituals a tribute to an unseen master lurking in the depths. Whatever nightmare festers in the shadows, its influence spreads like a gathering storm, warping the will of its followers and bending them towards some unknowable purpose. Their devotion is absolute, their rituals unceasing, and their intent undeniable. Should they succeed, the tides themselves may rise in servitude to an ancient horror, drowning all that stands against it. One thing is certain, they must be stopped before the storm breaks. Called forth from the abyss to reclaim relics of immeasurable power, the restless cabal serves as the will of N'Zoth made manifest. Bound by eldritch chains, they are doomed to enact their master's bidding for eternity. Zaksash the Speaker whispers promises of power and dominion, his words twisting minds and breaking wills. Meanwhile, Fathul, the mighty enforcer, embodies destruction itself, crushing all who dare stand against the tide of darkness. Together, they herald the rise of an ancient force that seeks to reclaim its dominion over reality itself. When Queen Azshara struck her fateful bargain with N'Zoth 10,000 years ago, she did not come alone. As a tribute to the old god, she offered one of her most devoted followers, a soul bound in unwavering loyalty, now twisted into a harbinger of the deep. Unat, chosen of N'Zoth, rises with the crawling masses that heed his command. A herald of the inevitable return of his master. The stars have long whispered of this moment, and now their prophecy unfolds, dark tides rising, the end beckoning. And that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully you did enjoy. Take care of yourself. See you in the next one.